What if I told you there might be a secret deal between Russia and China, one designed to create a world where the US dollar just isn't king anymore? A deal so big it could literally redraw the map of global power. Well, according to some intelligence sources, this isn't just a what if. So let's dive into this, because the story of how this alleged plan even came to light is almost as wild as the plan itself. And look, this wasn't just some dramatic headline for clicks. When intelligence agencies and political analysts actually got a look at the details, they were stunned. The reaction was apparently immediate and frankly deeply alarmed. We're talking about alarm bells screaming in capitals all over the world, from Washington to Tokyo. So, how did this whole thing even start? It all began with an 18-page document just dropped onto this tiny anonymous Telegram account called Northern Snow. Now at first, you can imagine, it was pretty easy for people to just brush it off as some elaborate fake. But then things got serious. Governments in the US, the UK, and Japan started putting out these quiet, high-level warnings. You know, the kind they only issue when they think something very, very real is happening behind the curtain.
And that quiet chatter from governments gave the whole thing a terrifying new level of credibility. So, let's get into it. What is actually in this world-changing secret that has officials so worried?
Okay, at its heart is something they're calling a mutual military resource pact. Now, don't let the boring name fool you. What's so wild is that the language in the document goes way beyond a simple trade deal. It literally describes an economic and military marriage, a deep, deep partnership designed to turn both countries into one self-sufficient giant, totally independent of the West, and, more importantly, totally immune to its sanctions. This entire pact is apparently built on 3 foundational pillars, and each one is specifically designed to challenge Western influence in a different arena: strategic, technological, and of course, financial. It's one thing to talk about a pact in these big, abstract terms, right? But what are the actual details? Because the specifics are where you really start to see the staggering scale of what they're trying to do. So let's break down these 3 bombshells. First, Russia's basically handing China the keys to new Arctic shipping lanes. This is a massive shortcut that not only bypasses Western-controlled waters, but could cut global travel times by up to 40%. Second, China gives Russia its top-tier military AI. And we're not talking about tracking protesters here. This is for battlefield targeting and advanced drone warfare. In return, China gets priceless real-world combat data, a huge leg up in the AI arms race. And third, the big one, a coordinated plan to go right after the US dollar's global dominance. Now, we all know Moscow and Beijing have worked together before. That's nothing new. But what's reportedly got Western governments so terrified of this deal is just how perfectly the 2 powers seem to fit together. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. It's almost symbiotic. Russia is an energy and resource giant, but it's way behind on advanced tech. China is a tech and manufacturing beast, but it's desperate for cheap energy and raw materials. It's like they took a list of their biggest weaknesses and realized the other country had the solution. This pact lets them swap strengths, cover their weaknesses, and create this powerful bloc that, in theory, doesn't need the Western system for anything. But exchanging goods and tech is one thing. Tucked away inside this leak was something way more explosive, a secret military clause that could seriously destabilize whole regions of the globe. It's called the Strategic Relocation Protocol, SRP-7. I know, the name sounds super dry and bureaucratic, but what it actually describes is anything but. It is a detailed blueprint for Russia and China to build joint military bases outside of their own territory. This is just pure power projection on a global scale. And where are they planning on building? Well, the document supposedly lists 3 key zones: the Arctic, which would give China a military presence in what's usually NATO's backyard; Central Asia, which would create a military backbone for China's massive Belt and Road Initiative; and then, the most controversial one, the Indian Ocean region, a move to control some of the world's most vital sea lanes. And check this out. This direct quote from the leaked document reportedly sent absolute shockwaves through New Delhi. The text just comes right out and says that a joint base in the Indian Ocean would basically neutralize India's strategic power in the region. So this is the real kicker, right? This isn't just a defensive pact. It's actively targeting and naming other major powers. But putting military bases all over the globe is only half the strategy. The other front in this plan, and maybe the more powerful one, is financial. This is where analysts think the real war is meant to be fought, and it's one they want to win without firing a single shot. It even has a code name, Project Draco. According to the sources, this is the part of the plan that truly sent a panic through Western treasuries. It's basically a step-by-step guide for dismantling the West's financial dominance from the inside out.
So Project Draco has three main goals. First, systematically move a huge chunk, 30%, of the global oil trade off the US dollar. That would be a direct hit to American economic power. Second, launch their own joint digital currency, one that's totally firewalled from Western sanctions. And third, create a shadow banking network for other sanctioned countries, essentially building a parallel global economy that they control. And get this isn't just some vague wish list. It's a timed, three-stage plan. Stage 1, the military and resource alliance, is supposedly happening right now. Stage 2 is the full-blown rollout of Project Draco. And Stage 3, which is slated for 2030, is what the document ominously calls the realignment, the moment a new world order is supposed to be cemented with a totally different axis of power.
Okay, I know. These are massive geopolitical chess moves being played out on a global scale. But how does some secret deal between two faraway countries actually connect to your life?
Well, the impacts could be very direct and very real. A major shift in global trade could affect everything from the price you pay for gas to the cost of your next smartphone. It could drive global inflation and rattle your retirement accounts. It could even change the rules for international travel or global standards for online privacy. This stuff isn't some distant political game.
When you boil it all down, the main takeaway is this. If this document is real, this isn't just another alliance. It's a blueprint for a massive, seismic shift in how our entire world works. A global earthquake, and we might just be feeling the first tremors right now.
And that really leaves us with the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? Is this the actual dawn of a new, lasting world order? An alliance designed to run for decades? Or is it just a temporary partnership of convenience, two rivals teaming up against a common enemy? Because honestly, the answer to that question will probably define the rest of the 21st century.